emerging leaders. It is through the younger generation where our future lies. Through their feet, hands, eyes and voice where we hope they strive for more than what we could. Discover a bright future and enjoy a country that is full of life. Thank you. I thought today I'd bring me didgeridoo and that along, and my young son Jason. He's going to do a dance for us. So it'll be just a welcome for everyone here. And it's just great to see, such a good event like this here turn out. So thank you. So thank you again.
Thank you. I ended up using mostly that because I just did not have everything done in time. Okay, so scoreboards we don't have any scoreboards set up. Wasn't as smooth as it could have been, but it worked okay, so we'll call it good. Another 30 seconds. We missed the first bit. doing squats to this song is not mandatory, but it is encouraged.
All right, everyone, a couple of minutes till we get started on the low contact scrimmage game for today. So I'll just read out the rosters quickly for you. On the black team, we've got 020 Mariah Scarey, 11 Avalanche, 113 Willow the Wisp, 118 Cyclona, 18 Crunchiva, 1994 Tickle Me Hell No, 299 Dangerone, 3 Elemental, 304 Bachelot, 33 Bim Sim, 4 Pins and Needles, 43 Jessie, 49 Stace, 78 Hellcat and 99 Pickles. For the white team, we have 006 Kel, 067 Dustbuster, 11 Whack-A-Molly, 169 Tink, 23 Anarchy, 27 Insana, 33 Fatal Phoenix, 401 Adela's Waste, 45 Jack Rabbit, 6502 Nick, 77 Millie Malice, 78 Blizzard, 84 Kilohertz and 88 Raf. So we've got our refs getting themselves organised in the middle, our head NSO checking that everything's ready to go. We've got all our NSOs in place and we're nearly ready to get started. So before we go, just a quick thank you again to our refs and NSOs for today. Thank you to Westside Roller Derby for hosting the event today. Thanks, Westside. Thank you to Jason, who just came to deliver the Welcome to Country. That was pretty awesome. Thanks to Beardcasts for streaming this excellent event today for everyone at home who can't be here to watch.
Most welcome.
Thank you to Hawkeye for taking beautiful photos and having, was it Hawkeye Cam in the middle? The Hawkeye view from the centre of the track. And thanks also to our first aid crew, keeping us nice and safe and healthy. All right, nearly ready to start.
I'm digging this mix. You must be my age. 87. What do you want?
This is entirely up to you, and I don't care either way, but this is my 200 game. No shit, no shit, this is my 200 game. Yeah. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it.
You want us to say it was in the totals? Huh? If you didn't want us to talk about it, it was in the totals.
No, I don't want people to go, you know.
All right, we are away on the low contact scrimmage. We've got 666 Squirrel for the black team and 7-6, I believe, for the 7-8, sorry, for the white team. Blizzard has taken lead jammer, and Squirrel is also out of the pack. All right, Blizzard coming back to try and score some points, and Squirrel joining the back of the pack as well. Bit of a tumble there on the outside line. Squirrel busting through on the inside line on the apex there. 4 points. Blizzard is also through on the inside of the apex on that third or second turn. Blizzard taking the instruction from the bench to call off the jam. All right, so at the end of that first jam, both teams are now on 4 points. All right, black team, we have Pickles lining up to jam. And the white team, we have Jack Rabbit, number 4-5. All right, hitting the back of the pack. Pickles is taking the inside line. Jack Rabbit's taking the outside line. However, who has got lead? I don't know. Bit of a chat for the refs, and it looks like the white team, Jack Rabbit, has been assessed as lead jammer. Both jammers coming out at similar time. Jack Rabbit making it through, 4 points scored. Coming around to score another scoring pass. And Pickles on the inside line. Bit of a hit there, coming through to score points before the end of the jam. All right. We've got Dustbuster for the white team and Elmer Thud for the black team. There's the whistle. Thank you, Jam Timer, and we are away. Elmer Thud, both jammers taking the inside, actually. Elmer Thud moving to the outside to try and get through. White team has been assessed lead. Both jammers out around the same time and heading back towards the pack. Meanwhile, the blockers are reforming, getting in their defensive positions. Nice strong tripods, ready to take the impact of the jammer coming in. So black team blockers being forced out of the way as Dustbuster takes the inside line, round to the out and away for 4 points. But Elmer Thud is not far behind, also making it out of the pack. All right, as the blockers line up on the straightaway, both jammers come in for their hit. And it looks like the black jammer, Elmer Thud, has been assessed a penalty. We have got a power jam for the white team. So Dustbuster coming around to score as many points as they can while they have this advantage. It's also a blocker advantage for the white team. The black team blockers strongly trying to hold those lines and keep Dustbuster from scoring any points. All right, Dustbuster taking the instruction from the bench to call off the jam. Smart move, because the black team jammer is going to be starting from the penalty box. So we've got Millie Malice for the white team coming up jamming with a power jam start. The white team will not only have a power jam start, they also have a blocker advantage on track. So let's see what they can do with that advantage. All right, Millie Malice trying the inside line but being knocked out, taking the outside line, which was open and clear, and away to get lead jammer. Coming around to scoring pass. Meanwhile, Elmer Thud is also back on track, being released from the penalty box. Millie Malice at the back of the pack, fighting her way through. Elmer Thud makes it through, but unfortunately is being sent to the penalty box, which is another power jam situation for Millie Malice. Taking a look at the bench. What is the bench telling her to do? Keep going is the instruction. Okay, so white team blockers are holding back for that no pack call, forcing them forward, extending the pack out. Millie Malice is through for 4 more points. As the blockers reform back into their defensive positions, the white team potentially going to do some offense, or are they going to hold back and force the extension of the pack? Yep, they're going to hold back, which worked all right. Beautiful little inside line move from Millie Malice. Meanwhile, Elmer Thud is back on track and the white team blockers getting ready to defend. Millie Malice going for the outside, Elmer Thud on the inside. Both pods of blockers looking pretty strong. But Millie Malice doing a nice cut through to the inside line to find that gap and score another 4 points, another scoring pass. Elmer Thud still is stuck in the pack there, but taking the outside line very nicely, stepping around for 4 points. Oh, no, sorry, to get their initial pass. All right, Millie Malice breaking through and taking the outside line on the apex for 4 more points. Looking over to the bench and calling off the jam. So that was a great jam for the white team. 20 points in that jam. So quick score check now. Black team is on 12 and the white team is on 38 points. All right, next jam we've got Nick for the white team and Avalanche for the black team. 5 seconds call from our jam timer. And that whistle means we are away. All right, black jam are being held at the back. Those white team blockers keeping their strong formation. Black team blockers at the front of the pack also looking pretty strong. Avalanche trying that inside line but not being able to make it. Nick pushing through at the front of the pack, taking the outside line on the apex to get lead. Jammer. All right, as Nick comes around on the straight for their next scoring pass, we have Avalanche still has not made it out of the pack yet. The white team blockers are keeping a really strong formation. Good defensive work from both teams. Keeping those strong defensive tripods. So Nick just pushing through on those black team blockers, trying to stay in track. Avalanche, meanwhile, has made it out of the pack on the outside line. White team trying to do some offensive work to assist Nick, who just has a few more black team blockers to get through and calling it off just in time. So Nick making it out of the pack, scoring some points, calling it off before Avalanche can score. All right, coming up the next jam, we've got Hellcat jamming for the black team and Whack-A-Molly for the white team. All right, both pods of blockers lining up at the back and the jam is being pushed through, but Hellcat taking the outside line, pushing through the blockers and has been assessed lead. Jammer. Meanwhile, Whack-A-Molly still trying to get through those blockers on the apex there, breaking through at that no pack call and coming around to start their scoring pass. Hellcat on the inside line of the apex, beautiful little skate through the inside, very nimble. Whack-A-Molly coming back to the pack, and there's a few white team blockers they need to get past as well, and unfortunately white team jammer is needing to leave the track for a penalty. All right, the white team jammer has earned 2 penalties and will be sitting for a minute. Just a reminder, everyone, if you do get a penalty, you need to leave the track immediately. Skate straight off. All right, so this is an advantage for Hellcat. And unfortunately, Hellcat, the black team jammer, has been assessed a... some confusion over the penalty, so it is black 7-8 with the penalty and white 7-8 is able to return to track. Now, I don't know how this is going to work. We normally have a jammer bounce, but the white team jammer is needing to sit 2 penalties, so this is a situation we have the black team jammer released and the white team jammer released. All right, so that's the fun of roller derby. We cannot play without at least one jammer on track. So sometimes that leads to some fun things if people get penalties. All right, Hellcat breaking through the middle of the pack and Whack-A-Molly at the back trying to get through. All right, that is the end of that jam. So the white team will be starting with 1 blocker in the penalty box, giving that blocker advantage to the black team. All right, just a quick call off there for the officials. So we will have Fatal white team and Pins and Needles for the black team. Just let the officials sort out what they're sorting. All right, timeout's over and jam timer is telling us 30 seconds. 5-second call. All right, and we're away. We've got the white team blockers at the front and the black team blockers at the back, spreading that pack out. But Pins and Needles has made it through the pack for lead jammer for the team. Coming back to the pack to start scoring some points. All right, both jammers are out of the pack. We've got Fatal Phoenix and Pins and Needles both coming back to the blocking packs around the same time. Pins and Needles skating through brilliantly on the inside line, but unfortunately at low contact, you're supposed to slow down. So it was a lovely bit of skating, but unfortunately not legal move. Pins and Needles heading to the penalty box, which means we have a power jam for Fatal Phoenix, pushing the pack out to its furthest extent. No pack means you've got to let go. All right, Fatal Phoenix coming back to the back of the pack. See if the white team is going to try to do some offense work to help Fatal Phoenix through. But a nice hit there from Fatal Phoenix is forced to recycle to the back, having to get through a few of those black team. A hit on the outside line, forcing the recycle again. It's really demoralising as a jammer when you're almost through and then you just get that hit out and you've got to go all the way back and start again. So both jammers are back on track. Got a compressed pack here on the apex on the third turn. But Pins and Needles taking the inside line around the apex. Phoenix pushing through, trying to get through the blockers there. Not quite getting through, and that jam coming to its 2-minute conclusion. Looks like we're having a team timeout for the black team. So that's 1 minute to chat and chill and reassess things. Score update, the black team is on 32 and the white is on 48. All right, just while we have this timeout, a quick reminder of our bake sale and raffle over by the front door. The raffle prizes are going to be drawn at half-time of Game 4, which is the next game. So better hurry up and get your tickets in the raffle and eat as much of the bake sale stuff as you can while there's still some left. All right, timeout is over, and we're about to get back on track. For the black team, we have Avalanche jamming, and the white team, we have Dustbuster. Oh, no, official timeout. All right, Jam Time is going to come and fix something. All right, speaking of our raffle prizes, don't forget we've also got a guess how many Skittles in the jar prize, and if you are the closest, you get it correct, you get to keep the entire jar of Skittles. Through those blockers, really nice moves there from Dustbuster. Avalanche is stuck behind those white team blockers, almost making it through. One pass and just dancing on the line on the inside of the straightaway to make it through for 4 points and calling off the jam. So both teams 8 points in that jam. Good work from both the jammers and strong blocking as well. All right, we're away. We have Millie Malice for the white team. And I think that is Bachelot for the black team. Sorry, I can't see very well. But both jammers trying to get through those blockers. But Millie Malice has made it through, lead jammer for the white team. Racing around. And, yep, Bachelot is out as well. Both jammers coming to start scoring some points. Millie Malice taking the outside line, cutting past their own blocker to get through for 4 points. Bachelot is coming to the back of the pack. White team blockers are trying to stay in their defensive formation. Meanwhile, Bachelot is pushing through. No pack call, so the blockers need to disengage. Bachelot is through for 4 points. Millie Malice at the back of the pack. Black team getting the defence together. Millie Malice passing through her own blockers and calling off the jam. So points advantage to the white team at the end of that jam. Black team is now on 44, white team is on 64. All right, we've got pins and needles for the black team and blizzard for the white team. A whistle goes and we're away. White team's blockers are lining up at the front, black team's blockers at the back, and it has worked well for the white team because Blizzard has taken lead jammer, but pins and needles has made it out as well. Both jammers coming back to re-engage. Black team blockers staying in their strong tripod formation, taking the instruction from the bench to call it off. Smart move, score a few points and call it off before the black team is able to score. So jammers taking instructions from their experienced bench crew. All right, we've got Dustbuster again for the white team, coming up against Pickles for the black team. All right, we're away. Both jammers getting stuck at the back, trying that inside line, forced around to try other lines, and it has worked for Dustbuster, sliding around the outside, lead jammer for the white team. All right, black team trying to do a little bit of offense, but remember you've got to do defense as well as Dustbuster returns to the track, to the back of the pack, sorry. All right, both jammers pushing and getting stuck at the pack compressors there on the apex. Dustbuster making it through the black blockers, needs to get past their own white team blockers and is away for 4 more points. Pins and needles around the outside line. Beautiful little dance along the outside line there around all those white team blockers. Has made their initial pass. Dustbuster slowing down, taking a big hit there from Mariah Scary off track, calling it off. All right, points advantage at the end of that jam. Points advantage was taken by the white team. All right, next jam we've got Hellcat for the black team, and Dustbuster for the white team is going to be starting from the penalty box. So we have a power jam start for the black team. Whistle means we're away. Hellcat busting through the middle, taking the outside, and unfortunately scoring a forearms penalty. Get ready for a jammer bounce. Very exciting. Everyone loves a jammer bounce. Dustbuster's back on track, and now Dustbuster has the advantage of being the only jammer on track, taking the inside line, trying to get through those black blockers, and makes it through on the inside line to get lead jammer. That's a great effort, starting from the penalty box and getting lead. Excellent work. All right, Hellcat is also through, making it through on the apex there. And Dustbuster trying to push through the whole pack there on the apex and calling off the jam. All right, points advantage to the white team again during that jam. Score update, black team is on 44 points and white team is on 74. All right, we've got Insana for the white team and Squirrel for the black team. Insana taking the inside line, trying to make it through to the front, but is pushed off track and then recycled by Pickles there on the inside. So great bit of work there for the black team, because that means that Squirrel has had an opportunity to get lead jammer. Insana's now also through. Black team with the advantage of having lead. And we've got Pickles up the front there doing some offensive work to try and help Squirrel to get through. No pack call. That means the blockers must disengage. Squirrel through for 4 points. Insana, meanwhile, taking the outside line on the apex there on the second turn. Coming through to score some more points. All right, as Squirrel re-engages the pack, takes the outside line, dances along, hitting the white pod. And while that penalty was being called, Insana snuck through on the outside line. Very sneaky little move. Squirrel is out as well. All right, so both teams have got a penalty box, and that's the end of that jam. All right, so for the next jam, both teams are going to be starting with one blocker in the box, so equal there. All right, we've got Jack Rabbit for the white team and Cyclona for the black team. Big pushing from both jams, so hold strong. But Cyclona has made it through the jammer just on the apex there and is heading back around to start scoring some points. Jackrabbit still pushing against a solid-looking blocking pod there for the black team as we're on to the second turn. Trying to push through. Blockers must engage. Cyclona easily Spake makes it 2. All right. Jackrabbit, the white team, Emma has scored or earned themselves a penalty. So we have power jam situation, trying to down outside line there in the third turn, making it past those white team blockers. Quite strong. So the black team has the disadvantage, but they do have the power jam. So let's see what they can make of the situation. Black team blockers trying to do some offense and break up that white team blockers. Cyclona is through for 4 more points. A few more blockers returning to the track, and Jackrabbit is back on to start jamming for the white team, taking the inside line, avoiding that hit on the inside line there. Cyclona's back, dancing along the outside, successfully taking that narrow bit of space on the outside line, taking the instruction from the bench to call it off. All right, and a timeout has been called. Official timeout. All right, quick announcement while we have this timeout. Many of you will know Hawkeye in the middle of the track. Hi, Hawkeye, would you like to wave? Photographer extraordinaire. This is Hawkeye's 200th game as a photographer. Thanks, Hawkeye. Making everyone look amazing in all the photos of our games. I'm pretty sure all of us have seen ourselves looking great. Hellcat, though, getting pushed out and forced to recycle back. Nick has made it through for their initial pass. Hellcat still fighting in the pod there, but makes it through on the inside line of the apex on turn 2. Nick re-engaging the pack. Black team blockers walling up. Try and stop Nick from getting through. Nick successfully makes it through for 4 points as Hellcat re-engages Tay the inside line. Hellcat unfortunately taking a penalty there for excessive speed. So Nick has got a great opportunity here with a power jam. So black team blockers getting themselves ready. Where do they need to be? Nick taking the inside line, getting through those blockers very nimbly. Black team blockers getting themselves back together. All right, Nick's coming back for another scoring pass here on the second apex. Taking the inside line. Beautiful bit of offensive work there from the white team blockers to open up some space on the line. All right, Nick is re-engaging the black team blockers. White team blockers are getting ready for Hellcat taking the outside line, but that is the end of the jam. So at the end of that jam, black team is on 68 and the white team is on 104, breaking through the 100-point mark. Well done, white team. All right, we've got pins and needles for the black team and Insana jamming for the white team. Both jammers getting caught up in a bit of a scrum there, but Insana is through on the inside line to get lead. Pins and needles also through on the inside, just at the apex there. All right, Insana taking the outside line. Great bit of offensive positional blocking there from the white team blockers, opening up some space for Insana. Pins and needles taking the outside line of the apex, making it quick work of the white team blockers. All right, so the black team blockers are trying to get themselves back together in their defensive position, but Insana takes the outside line, gets those points and calls off the jam. All right, we've got Jack Rabbit for the white team and Cyclona for the black team. Jack Rabbit making it through first. Meanwhile, Cyclona is still trying to get through the pack, coming into the first turn as Jack Rabbit re-engages at the back. All right, Cyclona is through on the inside line of the apex. Made their initial pass. Jack Rabbit just pushing through those last couple of black team blockers, really pushing hard to get through and has made it through for 4 points. And Cyclona is also through there on the second turn, 4 points. Going point for point so far as Jack Rabbit re-engages, but those black team blockers are looking really strong in that strong defensive tripod. Jack Rabbit taking the outside line, but taking a tumble, trying that line again. Insana is also dealing with, Cyclona is also dealing with a couple of blockers at the back there, but has made it through around the inside. Jack Rabbit just being forced off the track, forced to recycle. White team are doing some offensive work to assist Jack Rabbit to get through and then quickly reforming as a blocking tripod. Some offensive assistance there from Pickles, meaning opening up the inside line for Cyclona to get through on the inside line. Jack Rabbit re-engaging. The black team blockers getting caught in the middle. Jack Rabbit taking the outside line and calling off the jam. So it looks like we went point for point in that jam. So the black team at the end of that is on 84 and the white team is on 124. We might have time for another jam. We might not. Let's just keep an eye on our jam timer here. All right, one of those beautiful moments where we have the clock lining up in a fun way. So thank you to our jam timer. It's half time. Black team is on 84, white team is on 124. We're going to have a 15-minute break. So use this time to get yourself a raffle ticket, get a snack from our bake sale, check out the beautiful stalls. We've got a couple of different stalls there. You can get some skate-based gear and stickers and all kinds of fun things. And we'll see you in 15 minutes. All right, and we are away on the second half. We've got Millie Malice jamming for the white team and taking the lead jammer on a beautiful move on the outside line of the first turn. Meanwhile, Crunchiva for the black team is still stuck in the pack there, trying to get through as the blockers keep in their formation on the apex. Millie Malice returning to their first scoring pass. Crunchiva almost making it out, but unfortunately taking a forearms penalty and being sent to the penalty box. Millie Malice is through for 4 points, looking over to the bench, and KO says, keep going. All right. So the black team blockers are going to be trying their best to stop Millie Malice from taking it, getting through on the outside line. Millie Malice is doing a bit of move here and there on the inside to the outside, making it through on the outside line for 4 more points. So the white team have got a blocker advantage as well as a power jam situation. So what they want to be trying to do is helping their jammer get through. Millie Malice takes on the inside line, but a bit of a hit there from Bim Sim, just knocking her out of track, recycling. White team need to reform their blocking formation as Crunchiva's come back from the penalty box, almost making it out as the white team reforms in front. Bit of offensive assistance there from the black team. Meanwhile, Millie Malice has also come back to the back of the pack, breaking through the black team tripod for 4 more points. Crunchiva has earned a penalty and has been sent to the penalty box, so we still have a power jam situation for Millie Malice. It's a great opportunity for the white team to score as many points as they can while there's only one jammer on track. All right, great work from the white team there, scoring 19 points for that jam. All right, Crunchiva's going to be starting from the penalty box for the black team. So Dustbuster will be having a power jam start. All right, so the white team blockers trying to do some offense to help Dustbuster get through on the outside line of the first turn. But unfortunately, Dustbuster earning an excessive force penalty, being sent to the penalty box. Meanwhile, Crunchiva has returned to track and will be trying to get lead jammer, trying to break on through. Successfully makes it through on the inside of the apex. So great work from the black team, starting with their jammer in the penalty box, but still getting lead jammer. As Crunchiva tries that inside line again on the apex, but being knocked back, forced to recycle. Coming back through the middle of the track as the white team blockers reform, but Crunchiva takes the inside line for 4 points. As the blockers reform together on the straightaway at the second turn, both jammers are now engaging the pack. Dustbuster pushing through the middle, trying their best to get through, and Crunchiva taking the outside line. Dustbuster doing a nice little spin on the inside there of the third turn, as both blocking pods need to get in formation because Crunchiva's taking the inside line, but a hit there from Ada Lay's waist, forcing Crunchiva back, recycle to the back of the pack on the inside. No pack call, so all blockers need to get back together to form a pack. And looks like a penalty there for Dustbuster, unfortunately. So that is a power jam situation for Crunchiva, as Dustbuster's going to spend a little bit of time in the penalty box. All right, at the end of that jam, that means that the black team will be starting with a power jam start. Dustbuster will be starting from the penalty box. All right, Pins and needles for the black team. Power jam start. Let's see what the blockers try to do if they want to try and help their jammer to get through. Pins and needles tries the outside line, moves to the inside line, tries to get through and a little bit of gap there. Now we're pushing up to the apex. The white team blockers are holding really strong there. Pins and needles is being forced to push really hard, and the white team blockers are holding very strongly there in the apex. But pins and needles find space on the outside line. Meanwhile, Dustbusters also back on track and has spun through the inside line, finding that tiny little gap, making it through for their initial pass. All right, both jammers breaking through at the same time. Dustbuster on the inside, pins and needles on the outside. And they are now racing back to the back of the pack. And a bit of offense work from both teams trying to help their jammers through. Pins and needles almost through on the inside, but just stays inbounds on the third turn there to make their pass for 4 points. Dustbuster sliding on through with ease as the blockers reform back into their defensive positions as Pins and Needles re-engages at the back. All right, Pins and Needles taking advantage of that little bit of distraction there to cut through on the inside. Dustbuster is also able to score some points there, breaking through again on the inside line of the third, fourth turn. Pins and Needles just staying in bounds. Beautiful bit of work on the line there on the straight and calling off the jam. Timeout for the black team. So that's 1 minute to chill, have a think about what you're up to, reassess your game plan. All right, and we are away after that team timeout. We've got Pickles for the black team and Jackrabbit for the white team. But Pickles has made it out for lead jammer on that first turn and is coming back towards the back of the pack to try and start scoring some points. Jackrabbit just making it out there on the second turn. Beautiful work. All right. Black team checking on the bench. What's the instruction? Bench says keep going. Jackrabbit has made it through on the inside line, followed close behind by Pickles, getting a big cheer from the bench. Both jammers now started scoring points. Jackrabbit with only 2 blockers to beat. Pickles with only 3 blockers to beat, just staying in line there. And unfortunately, that's an excessive speed penalty for Jack Rabbit. When you're playing low contact, you've got to slow down before you engage the pack. Pickles has now got a power jam advantage. The white blockers trying really hard to push Pickles out there on the inside line of the apex there on the fourth turn, but Pickles is managing to stay inbounds, moving from the outside to the inside and getting through for 4 points on the outside line there of the straightaway. All right, both teams reassessing what their blocking pods are doing. Black team probably want to do some offense. White team is all defense. As Pickles engages the pack, Jack Rabbit has returned from the penalty box and will now be trying to score some points, but that is the end of the jam. Right, points advantage from that jam to the black team, 17-8. All right, for this jam, we've got Elmer Thud for the black team and Nick for the white team. We're away, white team blockers lining up at the back, black team blockers lining up at the front, and both jammers trying their best to get through, but Nick has taken lead jammer on the outside line of the first turn, come through to start scoring some points. All right, Nick re-engaging at the back of the pack, taking the outside line. Elmer Thud breaking through on the inside line for their initial pass. Both jammers are now in a position to score points. Nick with one blocker to get past, cuts through, does a nice little dance on the inside and calls off the jam. Very well timed. Elmer Thud not able to score any points. So the white team really taking advantage of the lead jammer, the extra powers you get as lead jammer. All right, we've got Millie Malice lining up for the white team and Avalanche for the black team. Black team has the blocker advantage. Oh, quick timeout. All right, too many people on track. All right, and we're away, and Millie Malice taking lead jammer, breaking through the pack, through the middle. Meanwhile, Avalanche trying to take that inside line, almost through, but the blockers are maintaining strength of that line. Avalanche is now through. Millie Malice breaking through on the inside to score 4 points. Avalanche coming back to re-engage the pack. Pack is condensed as the blockers are getting a bit mixed up in each other, but the white team blockers are trying to hold their tripod, their defensive formation. Avalanche taking the inside line of the apex through for 4 points. Meanwhile, at the back of the pack, Millie Malice is fighting her way through the black team blockers and has made it through. And Millie Malice, unfortunately, earning a forearms penalty and will be reporting to the penalty box. We have a power jam for Avalanche, who's trying to get through those white team blockers as they reform in front. Cyclona trying to help out with some offensive assistance there. Avalanche trying to stay in bounds. Those white team blockers sticking together, reforming really well around. Avalanche is not able to find a pathway through, but does find a nice opening on the outside line of the third turn there on the apex to make it through for 4 points. All right, I've got a few people in the penalty box, so there's not many blockers on track. So black team coming to get ready for some defense. White team trying to reform back around in front of the jammer. Millie Malice is back, returned from the penalty box, engaging the back of the pack. Black team blockers, though, not making it easy for her. And that is the end of the jam. Both teams scoring points in that jam. quick score update. The black team is on 141 and the white team is on 181. All right, we've got Tink lining up for the white team and Hellcat for the black team. White team blockers lining up at the back and the black team blockers lining up at the front with a little bit of offensive assistance for the white team up the front. Both blockers really struggling to get through. Hellcat has pushed the pack forward. Unfortunately, that is a penalty for black team's jammer Hellcat, who is going to the penalty box, and it looks like both jammers are heading to the penalty box, so this will be a nice quick little jammer bounce. Hellcat returns to the track, and the white team jammer was not far behind. We cannot have a game of derby if there's two jammers in the penalty box, so we've got to bounce them out. All right, both jammers now trying their best to get through these really strong defensive blocking walls. Hellcat being recycled back on the outside and the white team jammer just being held at the back there. Hellcat trying the outside line, just staying in bounds. Beautiful work there from Hellcat on the outside to stay in bounds. Meanwhile, white team, we have had a star pass for the white team. We've got Jack Rabbit now jamming as Hellcat re-engages the pack at the back. Just taking a tumble there on the outside line, getting back ready to keep engaging. Some nice offensive work there from the black team to try and break up the white blockers. Meanwhile, we have Jack Rabbit re-engaging at the back of the pack with those black team blockers are really strong, really holding their defensive wall. Couple of penalties there. We've got a power jam situation for the white team. Jack Rabbit has now got the advantage of being the only jammer on track as that jam comes to its natural conclusion. All right, both teams are going to be starting the next jam with some people in the penalty box. White team, however, will be starting with a power jam, which is a really good advantage to have, as we have an official timeout. All right, Nick has taken advantage of being the only jammer on track for that power jam start to get lead, but Hellcat has returned to track to try and score some points for the black team. Nick making it through for 4 points. Hellcat not that far behind, has made their initial pass. But Nick calling off the jam. 4 points and call it off. So it's good strategy when you are lead jammer. Get the points you can and call off the jam before the other team is able to score. That's why it's so important for teams to try to get lead. It makes such a difference to your control of the game. All right, we've got Insaner for the white team and Squirrel for the black team. As the white team trying to do some offensive assistance there, trying to a bit of offense to try and break up the black team blocking pod at the front there. Squirrel fighting their way at the back. And it's been successful for the white team. Insaner has made it through and earned a lead jammer status. Coming out of the pack from the Apex. Meanwhile, Squirrel being recycled, forced back, still trying to get through those white team blockers, taking the inside line. Bit of a tumble, but has made it through. Insaner has also made it through on the Apex there, not far behind, 4 points. All right, Insaner taking the instruction from the bench to call off the jam. Smart move to get 4 points from that first pass and call it off before the black team is able to score. So once again, we see the advantage of having the lead jammer status. Team timeout, white team. All right, and we're away. We've got Jackrabbit for the white team and Cyclona for the black team. Cyclona has made it through on the inside line of the straightaway for lead jammer. Jackrabbit still trying to get through those black team blockers. A little bit of offense there from the white team to try and break up the black team's blockers, and Jackrabbit has made it through on the Apex, their initial pass. Cyclona with lead has now re-engaging the back of the pack. The black team does have the blocker advantage. Cyclona only needs to get past these two blockers, but they are holding strong on that outside line. Cyclona taking the inside, successfully getting past Nick there on the inside line of the second turn, sorry. Scored 4 points for the black team. Jack Rabbit dancing along the outside line there, beautiful work. Also scoring 4 points as both pods of blockers look to get themselves back in formation. See if they can do some strong defensive work. Cyclona making it look easy there for the inside line. Jack Rabbit stuck at the back of the pack there on the third turn. White team trying to do some offense, try to open up some space, but unfortunately for Jack Rabbit being taken off track and being recycled back behind the back of the pack as the black team gets their blockers back in formation to start defending. Cyclona has made it out again for another couple of points, but unfortunately Jack Rabbit has earned a penalty, and that is a power jam for Cyclona and the black team. So the black team going to try to do some offense to break up the white team's blockers and help Cyclona through, but Cyclona's getting hit out on the inside line there of the straightaway on the first turn. Taking the outside line for 4 points. And that is the end of the jam. All right, quick score update at the end of that jam. The black team is on 157 and the white team has broken past 200 points for 201. Right, the white team is going to be starting with their jammer in the penalty box. So this is a power jam start for Elmer Thud and the black team. It's a huge advantage. Makes it a lot easier to get lead if you're the only jammer on track. But being pushed out on the inside line. Elmer Thud now taking the outside line, cutting back to the middle and making it through on the inside. Jack Rabbit is also back on track to start jamming. Elmer Thud with lead returning to the back of the pack to try and start their scoring pass. Jack Rabbit being recycled at the back. Elmer Thud taking a bit of a stack there, straight back up and ready to start scoring points again. Jack Rabbit for the white team has made their initial pass and is ready to start scoring some points. Elmer Thud just breaking through one last blocker, makes it through for the black team, 4 points. Jack Rabbit on the outside line of the apex there on the second turn also scored 4 points as Elmer Thud re-engages the back of the pack at the second turn there on the apex, pushing all the way to the out and knocked out there by the white team blocker, forced to recycle back. Both jammers being recycled. And Elmer Thud taking the inside line for 4 more points for the black team. Jack Rabbit trying to get through those black team blockers, but they keep reforming and holding that line, staying in front of the jammer, looking really strong. Jack Rabbit just pushing through those last couple of blockers to take the inside line for 4 points, but Elmer Thud is not far behind, also scoring 4 points and calling off the jam. Points to both teams in that jam, but the score advantage went to the black team, 12 points to 8. All right, we've got Tink for the white team and Pins and Needles for the black team. And the whistle goes there. Thank you to our jam timer. Both teams starting with blockers in the penalty box, but Pins and Needles for the black team taking the outside line just on the first turn and earning themselves lead jammer. Tink still trying to push through at the back of the pack on the first turn as Pins and Needles re-engages the pack to start scoring. Oh, that looks like a penalty for the white jammer, Tink. So that is a power jam for the black team. Pins and Needles skating around, taking a look at the bench. What's the instruction? Keep going, they're saying. So Pins and Needles slows down to re-engage the pack at the second turn of the apex. All those white team blockers are trying to stick together, but the black team blockers are trying to break up the wall, try and make a bit of space for Pins and Needles. Pins and Needles taking the outside line, just staying in bounds. Beautiful work there as they come around to try to score a few more points. Both jammers are now back on track, and the blockers are lining up, getting themselves in formation they want to be in to try and do some defense. But Pins and Needles pushing their way through on the inside line of the third turn. No pack call. And Tink is still stuck at the back of the pack there, but there finds a bit of space on the inside line there, opened up by the white team blockers. Meanwhile, Pins and Needles found a big hole on the outside line of the final turn there to score 4 more points. So Tink is now on their first scoring pass, and Pins and Needles is returning to continue scoring. All right, Tink is taking the outside line. Pins and Needles being pushed to the inside, trying to find some space now on the outside as the blockers reform in front. Tink just makes it out for some points before the end of the jam, and the black team has called a timeout. That is a black team timeout. All right, so score update at the end of that jam. The black team is on 187 and the white team is on 213. All right, we've got a minute for this timeout, so we can have a little chill. All right, the timeout is over and we're back on track. We've got Fatal Phoenix for the white team and Avalanche jamming for the black team. And we're away. Thank you, Jam Timer. All right, so Fatal Phoenix is trying to get through at the front of the pack and Avalanche is trying to get through at the back of the pack. Fatal Phoenix for the white team has made it through for lead and Avalanche is still stuck at the back. Oh, Avalanche for the black team has earned a penalty. So we have a power jam for the white team, Fatal Phoenix. As the pack starts to condense there at the apex and the white team jammer is trying to push through those last few blockers and makes it through quite easily for 4 points. Looks to the bench for some instruction. The instruction is keep going. So the black team blockers are trying to keep their formation while the white team blockers are going to try and help their jammer to get through. All right, Fatal Phoenix making it through for 4 more points and calling off the jam before the black team is able to score any points. So great bit of strategy there. All right, we've got Whack-A-Molly for the white team and Pickles for the black team. The white team does have the blocker advantage heading into this jam. That whistle means we're away. Jammers doing a little bit of shenanigans at the start line there. Both jammers trying to take the inside line, but the blockers are pretty strong both sides. Whack-A-Molly stuck at the back, but Pickles pushed forward to engage the jammers at the front. Whack-a-Mole almost making it through and being hit out on the outside line, giving Pickles the opportunity to make it through, and Pickles has earned lead jammer, but Whack-a-Mole is not far behind. Both jammers are now ready to re-engage. Definitely a pack advantage for the white team. They have all their blockers on track. Black team's only got 2 blockers on track. Bit of a stumble there, but skaters are back up and at it. Whack-a-Mole is able to take advantage of having a bit more help with the blockers to get through. But a beautiful bit of work there on the outside line from Pickles on the 3rd turn. That was a beautiful way to stay inbounds. Very nimble. Four points apiece at the earned in that jam. All right, we've got Cyclona for the black team jamming, and against Millie Malice for the white team. All right, 5 seconds called. Official timeouts. All right, just a quick announcement after this game. The next game that's up is going to be the Vic Kings, VRDL and Kingston combined team playing against Ballarat Rat Pack. So stick around, that's going to be a really fun game to watch. And the timeout is over, so we are about to be back on. And we're away. All right, so Cyclona is being held at the back of the pack and Millie Malice is at the front of the pack. It's quite a condensed pack, so there's a lot going on. But Millie Malice taking the outside line on the first turn for lead jammer, but Cyclona is not far behind. We have both jammers now out, ready to start scoring some points. As Millie Malice engages the pack first, those black team blockers are lined up at the back, and Cyclona has to get through their own blockers before engaging the white team blockers. Millie Malice on the inside line for 4 points. Cyclona still struggling to get through at the back there on the outside, but busts through the middle for 4 points as well. All right, Millie Malice just slowing down to engage the blockers on the second turn, going from the inside to the outside. Meanwhile, the white team blockers almost knock... Yep, they did. They knocked Cyclona out on the inside line, while Millie Malice makes it through for 4 more points. As the blockers try and keep their formation strong. As Cyclona breaks through. However, Cyclona has earned a forearms penalty on the outside line here. Millie Malice taking the outside line for 4 more points for the white team and calling off the jam. That looks like that might have been our last jam, I think. So we'll just wait and see what the scoreboard says. Yep, there we go. We have our unofficial score. So we've got to wait for that rolling whistle to finally call it off. But the score is sitting at 196 to the black team and 237 for the white team. All right, so just a quick one last reminder of our bake sale and our raffle. The raffle prizes will be drawn at half-time in Game 4, which is the next game that's about to start. So make sure you get your tickets. We have some really good prizes. Well done to the black team and the white team. Congratulations to our low-contact skaters. It's really great to see the development of roller derby as new skaters coming up and getting their skills practiced, and hopefully we'll see them in the full contact games in due course. All right, there's the whistle. Congratulations to the white team. I've been Claire. Nice to talk to you. Goodbye.